Hi there, I'm Anna Bisak, and I'm here talking with Bobby Hackney, who's going to tell us more about his work. Bobby, I'll have you start with, can you tell us what you do?
Hi. Well, I'm a graphic designer, senior graphic designer at Higher Ground. It's a music venue in South Burlington. I've been doing their graphic design stuff for about a good 4 years. Since the music thing hasn't been happening for a while, the work has changed, but there's still work in the music industry that needs to be done. I'm just just standing by while waiting for the music industry to come back.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Great. Could you tell us a little bit more about kind of what the day-to-day of your job entails?
Well, the day-to-day for my job is whenever we do a show announcement, we've been doing a series of concerts we made our own drive-in at the Champlain Expo in Essex.
Yeah.
And so whenever we have a show announcement, usually what happens is I'll get an email from one of my coworkers about who's coming, and I'll get an image, and I'll have to like put this image together, put like a graphic together for Facebook and Instagram. So because we're doing most of our marketing on the web and on social media, so a lot of the stuff I do is like just sizing things for websites and social media and things like that. And sometimes we don't get anything, and sometimes I have to like make things from scratch, which is kind of fun sometimes because that doesn't happen too often. A lot of the artists that we work with have provided artwork that I just changed the date on because they send the artwork to everyone in the country for a tour. But since these tours aren't happening anymore, they're doing select dates at places that do drive-in concerts. So we actually made our own template for the drive-in concert. So we just, plug in the name of the artist, put in the photo, and it's all set to go. So that's pretty easy. It's pretty much like plug and play. But for right now, that's my day to day.
Can you tell us a little bit more about your kind of educational and career background and how you came into this kind of work?
Yeah, actually, I've been a musician. I'm on the other side of the music thing. I'm also a musician. I play in a band. And when I first started playing in bands when I was a kid, I was really interested in record and tape layouts and CD layouts. I would always pull my CDs out and look at the insert, and I was like, wow, that's interesting. Somebody had to put this together. Someone had to figure out, what pictures went where and where the text would go and what the artwork was going to look like. And I ended up doing that for my own band when I was young, just making a demo tape for my band. And that was pretty much my introduction to graphic design, was making my own layout and making band posters for my band to promote our shows. And it just kind of went from there. My interests I got more interested in graphic design as I got older. I was really into skateboarding too. So same thing. Whenever I'd go to the skate shop, I'd look at all the skateboards and see all the cool graphics on the boards. Then I'd read skateboard magazines and I'd see the skateboard t-shirts. And I was like, wow, there's like a lot of ways to do art, but make it practical. Cause I'm really into art. That was the bridge that got, is like art and graphic design. I jumped to graphic design from like just fine art stuff because I used to love to draw, paint, and all that stuff, and do collages. And I realized that like a lot of stuff that we see, like just any object or packaging, it requires someone to design the package and figure out what the text is going to look like and what colors you're going to use. And I got really interested in that, just like deconstructing packaging.
That's great.
Yeah.
What are some of your favorite things about your work?
Oh, I mean, I just love being creative, and I love tying in, my work with my personal life, because I'm a big fan of music, and I play in a band, and I work for a music venue. So like everything seems to be like all in one for me. And it's just like, I don't know. I'm an introverted person. I really like just being on my own and working on something on my own. And this job really lends itself to that kind of setup where I can just, if I get an assignment, I can just work on it and then send it to someone, and they check it out and send it back. I work really well when I'm all by myself and in a quiet spot and I'm listening to my music and stuff. But I like how I can just, it's like an individual type thing. I mean, I work with other people to make things happen, but when it comes down to getting the actual work done, it's like, it's really relaxing for me. And it feels like I'm just like, I get in this special groove, and it's really, really nice. So that's my favorite.
That's great. What are some of the things that you find the most challenging about this kind of work?
Well, the most challenging thing is other people's opinions, other people's, a lot of people have a say in what I do. So like if I'm working with a team, everybody has their own opinions of how something should look or how something should be. So it's like, sometimes in some instances, I'm just like getting orders from people, like people are just telling me to make something look a certain way. And then other times there's like a collaborative ish, like a situation where, I come up with an idea and then people give me input, and that works out well. But sometimes, like I might want something to look a certain way, but someone else might disagree, and you have to make a compromise. And that's difficult. And there's a lot of changes. There's a lot of repetition sometimes with like certain things, like a lot of back and forth, a lot of revisions. So if you want to go in this field, you have to be ready to take a lot of criticism from people, because everybody's a critic, and everybody has their own idea of of how something should look. So you kind of have to, like, if you're really married to an idea, and you could sell it to everyone, so everybody agrees with you and they're on board with you, that's good. But also you have to learn how to take a back seat and let the others direct, and you just like make it happen. It's depending on the situation, because sometimes the other folks might know a little more about how it's supposed to look or how it's supposed to be presented, so like I don't have all the answers to every design problem, but like other people see things in different ways, and they might know, like, it's like, hey, we got to use this font because it's this demographic we're trying to cater towards, and they would respond better to this thing instead of this thing. Like there's a lot of that. So but it's cool. It's a good learning experience, and it's humbling. It's really humbling, because sometimes like I'll work on something and I will think it's awesome, and then someone else will say like, no, you got to go back to the drawing board.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
You talked a little bit about this, but can you walk us through like kind of what your typical day might look like?
Oh yeah. So typical day is, I check my emails. I use this project management system called Trello, and that's where all my projects go. So if someone has a project for me, it goes in Trello. I usually don't work from email, because I told all my coworkers, like, Trello is where I want everything to be organized. So I use that. So I look in Trello. I check all the due dates to make sure there's nothing due on the day, and nothing due soon. So I'll just go through all the due dates and do work on projects that are due, like that are closer to their due date. And then I'll fire up Adobe Creative Suite and start rocking. Usually in Trello, there's some instructions for like what the project is and what it needs to have on it and what it needs to say, and if there's room for my creativity or not. And I usually just use that as a way to get all the info I need to put the thing together. And then once I have a draft, I put it in the second, like I have all the bins labeled in Trello. So it's incoming. So that's when, all the stuff comes in from other people. And then I put it into in progress or in production. And that means I'm working on it. And then I put it in the next one, which is called ready for proofing. So all the people, when it's ready for proofing, people know that they can look at it and give feedback. And then if everything's cool with the graphic, we put it in ready for the world. And that means it's done. And then if it's not ready for the world, it goes back to incoming. And then it goes from left to right. So yeah. And then like a lot of other things that I end up doing is let's see. So I mean, a lot of the time I'm just like receiving information about future projects and organizing. Like some days I try to like stack my days, so I have like just design only days where I'm just working on the actual projects, and then other times I like to just gather all the information and make sure I have everything I need to do the projects beforehand, because there's a lot of back and forth, and there's a lot of chit chat and a lot of emails surrounding all these different events and projects, and it's hard for me to start on a project until I have enough stuff to like actually start it.
Right.
And also the way my brain works is I can't really get into the creative design mode when I'm like in the, conversation, email mode. So I try to like keep those types of days separate as much as I can. Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
If let's see, sorry, jumping ahead. What do you think would make someone a good fit for this kind of work?
I think, if you're just willing to learn new skills, like, because sometimes like you could get thrown a curveball and someone will say, hey, do you know how to do this? And like, if you say no, they're gonna be like, oh, okay, you don't know how to do that. But if you're willing to like do your research and look into how to make things happen instead of saying, you don't know how to do it, that comes in handy. And also you got to be really into it's good to learn the programs first. Like it's good to learn Photoshop, it's good to learn Adobe Illustrator, it's good to learn InDesign. Those are the three main programs I use, and like just get comfortable with them. And then once you get like a good grip on some of those programs, it's virtually impossible to like master all the programs. You'll end up learning as you go how to use them better. But like if you have like a basic understanding of those programs, that could take you pretty far. And if you're like willing to like learn more about those programs as you go, because that's what happens to me sometimes. Some things won't even come up, so I won't like think to learn about this thing that I could do in one of its programs, and then something will come up. I'm like, oh, okay, I guess I gotta, learn how to do this so I can make this happen. So it takes, a person that's, willing to just like go on their own and try new things. And you also have to have like a little bit of a thick skin, because everybody's a critic, like I said before, and there's going to be times where you think your idea is really cool, but someone else will probably think it's not cool. And you got to just not take it personally, because there's a lot of times where I've done something that I've been really cool with, and I didn't take it personally, but it kind of bums you out a little bit. But at the same time, it helps you like learn how to work with other people. And sometimes like these projects they're not yours. They belong to like a group of people, or they belong to a community. And at that point, you're offering up a service to like bring someone's idea, like making someone's idea a reality. So if you can just remember that, then be fine. And honestly, whenever I do like something and someone is not into it, I just keep it for myself, and I use it when I want to use it for. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I've been doing graphic design for probably around 10 years, and like a little over 10 years. And yeah, I've learned a lot just like by watching other people and learning from other designers.
Hmm.
And yeah,
Hmm.
it's it's just like constantly learning and exploring and experimenting with new ideas and
Hmm.
programs.
That's great.
Yeah.
So you talked a little bit about the like some of the programs you'd recommend students check out and get familiar with. Is there anything else you'd recommend like a middle or high school kid who right now is thinking they might be interested in a career in graphic design that they could do to continue exploring it, like classes or projects or volunteer work or anything like that?
Yeah, well, I feel like the one thing that I do, it's cool. Like first, before you think about the programs, I think it's like cool to get inspired. Like there's like some really cool like graphic design magazines and online magazines that kids could check out just to see what other people are doing. And just like creating, like having a sketchbook is actually really good because really the foundation of graphic design is the idea and the
Mhm.
composition, and you can do that with like if you sketch out an idea and like uh, it becomes something from that. That's pretty much like how
Mhm.
that's like the best way to like you know get into the design mind is like planning and sketching, and you don't need fancy programs to have ideas, but once you get to a point where you want to put something on the screen, it's definitely good to at least I would start off with Adobe Illustrator
Mhm.
actually, because that's like a really cool program because you can do like a lot of you can do just like a lot of like cool artistic effects and a lot of cool things. um, and it's like really good with text, uh, and it's just like a great program to learn first because it's a little more fun than the
Mhm.
other two in design and Photoshop. I mean, Photoshop's fun too because I feel like a lot of people use Photoshop to put like a pug head on someone's
Mhm.
body. So I
Mhm.
feel like okay, Photoshop and Illustrator are definitely the first two programs you should learn,
Mhm.
and you can get free trials of those programs. Like Adobe's pretty cool; they give you a 30-day free trial. You can like check them out, and they have like cool tutorials and cool
Mhm.
videos that you can look at. And there's plenty of videos on YouTube on how to do basic things in those programs.
Mhm.
Uh, that's one thing I do a lot of YouTubing
Mhm.
like for everything. So it's YouTube is awesome for learning how to do like use some of these programs.
Hmm. That's
Yeah.
great. And then what kind of education or training do you think that a student should be thinking about down the road if this is a career that they
Um,
want to pursue?
yeah. So I went to school. I have my BA in graphic design, and
Mhm.
I did school a little later in life. Um, I feel like with graphic design, yeah, it's definitely like school is definitely important. Um, because but the thing is, even if you have like that degree under your belt and you went to school for graphic design, the real experience starts when you get out there and get a
Mhm.
job doing it. um, but there's like a lot of good programs for art and graphic design out there, and um, yeah, I feel like it's driven by how motivated you are. Like if
Mhm.
you're motivated to get through this whole program and you have like a specific like outcome, then I feel like yes, like school is like definitely the way to go.
Mhm. That's great.
Yeah.
Anything else you would want to share with students?
I think I'm good.
Mhm. Well, thanks so much.